In the bustling streets of Lagos, where opportunities are made and dreams are crushed daily, Malik was a man known for his charm, his striking good looks, and his insatiable hunger for success. Born into poverty, he had vowed to never return to the slums where he spent his childhood, barely surviving on scraps. He wanted a life of wealth, of luxury, and he was willing to do whatever it took to achieve it, even if it meant abandoning the very principles that defined him. He met Adara at a gala hosted by one of the city's wealthiest businessmen. She was older, in her mid-40s, but she carried herself with the confidence and grace of someone who had known nothing but success. Adaora was a widow, left with her late husband's empire, several real estate holdings, a chain of luxury hotels, and unimaginable wealth. Malik saw her as the key to the life he craved. The night they met, Malik worked his magic. He flattered her with soft words and danced with her as though she were the only woman in the room. He was young, handsome, and radiated the energy of someone who had much life to give. Adara was captivated. Within months, their whirlwind romance led to a grand wedding ceremony that had the entire city talking. Malik had married into a fortune, and it didn't take long for him to start benefiting from it. He moved into Adora's mansion, drove her luxury cars, and wore the finest designer clothes. But behind the facade of devotion, Malik's mind was calculating. He took control of Adaora's business dealings, convincing her that his fresh perspective would keep her empire thriving. Slowly, he siphoned money out of her accounts, transferring small amounts into hidden offshore accounts, careful not to raise suspicion. And when he met Sade, a young, beautiful model, barely 23, his plans took a sharp turn. Sade was everything Adora wasn't. Youthful, full of life, and eager for the glamorous life Malik promised her. He began spending more time away from home, claiming to be working late on business ventures. Adara, blinded by her love for him, trusted his every word. But whispers of Malik's indiscretions soon reached her ears. The city's gossip circles buzzed about his affair with the model, about his lavish nights out with her. At first, Adaora refused to believe it, but the evidence became undeniable. One night, Malik came home after a long evening of partying with Sade, smelling of expensive perfume that wasn't Adaora's. Adaora was waiting for him in the living room, her face tense with the pain of betrayal. "Malik, where have you been?" she asked, her voice low but steady. He didn't even bother with an excuse. "Adara, we need to talk." The words were ice in her veins. "I found someone else," Malik said flatly. "Someone who fits the life I want now. I'm leaving." The room seemed to spin around Adaora. The man she had loved, who had charmed her with sweet words, was abandoning her like a discarded possession. "You're leaving," she whispered, her voice trembling. "After everything." Malik's expression was cold, unrecognizable from the man she thought she knew. "Yes, I am, and I'll be taking what's mine." At that moment, it became clear to Adaora what he had done. All the money, the properties she had worked hard to maintain, the trust she had placed in him, he had drained it all. She was left with nothing. It was as if he had orchestrated the perfect heist, not just of her wealth, but of her heart and soul. "You'll regret this, Malik," Adora said through gritted teeth. "I built you. I made you who you are." Malik smirked. "You made me rich, but who I am, that was always me." With that, he walked out of her mansion, leaving her in a silence that felt like death. He moved in with Sade, taking the last of Adaora's money with him. For weeks, he reveled in his new life of excess and youth, showering Sade with extravagant gifts, all while the city whispered of his betrayal. But karma has a way of catching up with even the most cunning. One morning, Malik woke up to find his accounts frozen, his assets seized. Adaora, it seemed, had one final card to play. She had uncovered the fraudulent transfers he had made and had friends in high places to ensure that Malik's world came crashing down. When the authorities came for him, Sade was nowhere to be found. She had vanished with what little money Malik had left, moving on to the next man who promised her wealth. Malik was left destitute, with no one to turn to. In the end, he found himself back in the very slum he had sworn to escape, stripped of everything but his memories. He had lost Adaora, lost Sade, lost the fortune he craved, and most importantly, lost himself. In the quiet nights of the city, as he wandered through the streets where he had once dreamed of a better life, Malik was haunted by the two faces he had shown the world, the charming, ambitious young man and the ruthless betrayer. Both had led him to ruin, and now he was nothing more than a ghost of what could have been.